Hey folks, this is Rhykker with a Diablo 4 Season 2 leveling guide. As I'm recording this video now, I just hit level 40, I just did the Capstone to unlock World Tier 3, played a few hours in total, checked out the new seasonal mechanic, and people kept asking me during the stream, what's the leveling method, so this is what I did, and this is where I plan to go from where I am now. Now, I'll just preface this by saying the absolute fastest way to level is still most likely going to be, despite all the buffs to all the things that have happened, still probably going to be running a half dungeon over and over again. Specifically, the Domhain tunnels here in Skosglen, this dungeon right here. It's got really good density. You run it halfway through, you don't do any objectives. You portal out, you reset. But if you do just that, yes, sure, you're gonna get XP faster. It's mind-numbingly boring to just redo that same half dungeon over and over. It's not satisfying, and you're missing out on so much. So many resources, so many drops, so much power that's gonna help you more in the long run. So if literally all you care about is making your number go up as fast as possible, do this. But if you're looking for a fun way to level up quickly, efficiently, to get a bunch of resources that are going to empower you and make your journey that much easier, then this is what I did. So step one, you load into game with a fresh season character. You want to start doing the season quest. The earlier you unlock those vampiric powers, the sooner you are benefiting from them and therefore making the rest of your life easier. So in Season 1, the questline was in Kiovashad. Season 2, it starts you off in Kedbardu. And then just follow the season quest. Whatever the mission is telling you to do, go and do that up until the point where the mission is something like complete chapter 1 of the season journey or complete chapter 2 of the season journey. So that's going to be your stopping points where you say, okay, you're not going to just blitz through the season journey just for the sake of finishing that story mission, but it's going to guide you, right? So once it says complete chapter 1, then you go on and you do other things and you let chapter 1 naturally complete while you're doing other things. Now again, because this is about unlocking our powers and benefiting from those powers as early as possible, that also means that once your class quest comes online, you're going to do that as soon as possible. Typically that'll be level 15 for most classes. Necros, I believe, is level 25. So outside of that, what are you doing? Well, it depends on what's going on in the world. If you have a Legion event, you are going to do a Legion event. None are spawning right now, but you get an alert. These pop up every 25 minutes, so they're fairly regular and they are excellent sources of XP. I'll just put up some footage of a Legion event in the background in the meantime here, but basically you're going to get a notice. You're going to want to head there roughly 2 to 3 minutes in advance. If you go there 3 minutes in advance, right? Once there's 3 minutes to the event, you start heading over on your horse. You're going to get there, there's going to be a campfire. You click on that campfire and you stay near it, and it's going to increment an XP buff. Now currently, it's saying it stacks up to a 0.15% XP buff. I think that's a display error. It used to be just 15%. I'm assuming it's a display error, otherwise this campfire is now useless. But 15% XP buff, 1.5, very significant. And these Legion events have so much XP, and especially early in the season, everyone is doing them, so you have a lot of people together helping out. Now you're probably asking, what difficulty do I play on? World Tier 1, World Tier 2. Only do World Tier 2 if it's not slowing you down appreciably. World Tier 2 gives you 20% more XP, 20% more gold. But if you are going 20% slower, then it's a wash. If you're going 30% slower, then you're being less efficient. Outside of Legion events, you're also keeping an eye on World Boss spawns. These now spawn more often. Every 3.5 hours or so, a World Boss spawns. The World Boss is level 35 minimum. So if you are level 15, you can try going to the World Boss. You're not going to be helping. You can hope that people will carry you. But especially early in the season, you're likely going to have a bunch of these people who are all low level, and it's going to be a wash. So in my case, my first world boss, I went there at 15. I saw that we were all low level. we all died in one hit. I immediately left. It was a waste of time. Second time, we were around, I think we were level 30 to 35, and we were able to handle it with relative ease. Just remember that every world boss has specific attack patterns. Once you learn the patterns, you learn how to evade them. You should be able to generally avoid getting hit, especially Ashava. Ashava is the most challenging world boss, but all of her attacks are super well telegraphed. Once you learn the patterns, you can avoid getting hit in the vast majority of circumstances. So if you're not doing a world boss and you're not doing a Legion event and you are done your class quest and you are not actively doing the seasonal story, what are you doing? You are going to be spending your time in one of these new-fangled, fancy blood harvest, tide, hell, zone region. There's always going to be one of these active, and once you're in there, this is the new seasonal event. This is where you're going to be farming up your powers, your new vampiric powers in particular, and leveling them up, getting more of them. And you'll see here that unlike Helltide, once you go out into the wilds, your materials remain. So when Helltide ends, any unused resources you've accumulated, they're lost. Not so with the Blood Harvest. With the Blood Harvest, you're getting keys and you're getting ketchup bottles. Some kind of vials of blood. So the keys, as soon as you have keys, you're going to find around these zones chests, or they look like tombs. You just open them. Always open them. There's no point in saving them. But your ketchup bottles. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can use these. You see these sanguine altars. They require 15 blood lyres. That's what this is called, a blood lyre or a ketchup bottle. So 15 ketchup bottles, or this one in the middle requires 150. It's worth waiting for the 150. Especially if you're playing in a group, that's 3 people needing 50 of them. It's really not so bad. Otherwise, I mean, if you want, you could just farm, the 15s, but if you can save up for the blood harvest, you get a whole lot of XP, a whole lot of drops. It's sending a whole lot of mobs at you, as opposed to these much smaller fights in the Sanguine Altars. And again, you can hold on to this forever, so you can stack it up. There's no rush. In the meantime, what you're doing in this zone, you're going and you're completing these quests. You're doing whispers. You're completing your bounties to get your Grim Favors. And whenever you're able to, you always turn in. Whenever your Grim Favors are full, you go turn them in at the Tree of Whispers. So between all that, you should be kept relatively busy. And the reason you want to be spending all of your excess time in here in the Blood Harvest is because, again, of your new vampiric powers. How do you access those? You bring up your inventory and it's this button here, Vampiric Powers. You eventually can unlock all of them. How do you unlock them? Some of them are unlocked by spending some of this ketchup. It's a different kind of ketchup. This is refined ketchup. It's catsup. And it tells you, acquired with potent blood. That's what it's called, potent blood. So this is potent blood. Whenever you spend potent blood, you get one of 3 upgrades. We'll just go ahead and demonstrate here. So you're going to either get to upgrade one of the vampiric powers you have already unlocked, or you will unlock a vampiric power you don't already have. Once you have clicked here, there's no going back. If you click out of the menu, then I don't know if it auto-allocates or it's just wasted. So be sure you're only clicking on that when you are certain that you're going to spend. So we're hitting there, it's upgraded, and it's closed. Some of these are only acquired via completing specific quests. So Ravenous, for instance, acquired from a Witness in the Dust quest. That's a quest that I completed recently. It's the last quest I think that I did within the season journey storyline. But again, just mouse over each of them. If you're wondering how come I didn't get this one, well, you can check, and it says exactly how you can get from each of these powers. Now, not only are you unlocking these powers, you are also leveling them up, similar to Paragon Glyphs. And again, this is via this potent blood, the catsup, and you get this from, again, doing these events. The Blood Harvest, the Sanguine Altars, all of this in this zone is how you're empowering these powers. And some of these powers are really strong. Like, look at this one, Anticipation, 20% cooldown reduction for your ults. And your ults deal 9% increased damage for each nearby enemy affected by one of your damage over time effects. Great synergy with dot builds. Again, this season, dot builds are really going to rise. Blood Boil has interaction with Overpower that adds some extra explosion damages on screen. Prey on the Weak gives you a 8% multiplicative damage bonus against vulnerable enemies. Remember, we lost a bunch of our multiplicative damage mods. This is one way to bring it back in. Ravenous on Lucky Hit gives you a 20% attack speed and move speed buff. And Hemomancy here. Your attacks deal 60% of your max life as physical damage to nearby enemies. And you heal 1% of your max life for each enemy damage this way. I don't think I died once throughout my entire... Okay, sorry. I died once through a very unusual on-death explosion that caught me completely off guard. Otherwise, my build is super tanky. I'm following maxroll.gg, all the build guides you can need. They got leveling build guides here. That's what I'm following. I'm doing a pulverized druid leveling guide. And again, druids are pretty bad at leveling. They come online later because I have no synergies. I don't have any good items. I can't deterministically get any of the good aspects that I need. And yet, this has still been a breeze for me. Don't sleep on these sanguine powers. Similarly, if you're a druid, don't forget to activate your boons. Do be turning those in whenever you can and whatever your class mechanic is. Some classes have it easier than others. Definitely go do that, it's extra power. Now you might be wondering, okay, what are all these weird symbols and stuff? Each of these skills requires a certain amount of pacts, is what they're called. You got Ferocity Pact, you got Divinity, and you got Eternity, aka Skulls, Cups, and Spikies. I don't know what that is. It's a helmet. So every power has different activation costs. This needs 3 Spikies. This needs 3 Skulls. This needs 1 Cup. 6 Skulls, 2 Spikies. So on the right here, it shows you what you need for your current build. And on the left, it shows you what you have. So I have 6 Spikies. I need 5, 2 Cups, etc. This is because I've reached a point where I've balanced on my gear which pacts I have. And I feel strongly that you should prioritize having your 5 powers online when you're leveling, right? So unless you have a legendary power that is really good for you, that is really benefiting your build, I would go for the correct pacts before I would go for a legendary power. It's better to have your selected vampiric powers online. Now, that said, we do have deterministic crafting in order to augment, change, alter all of the pacts on our gear. I've been largely not using them because I want to save them for higher level. But you have the Cleansing Acid. I've only found 5 so far, I haven't used any of them. Removes all pacts. Because once a pact is full, once an item is full of pacts, you can no longer remove pacts. You can only ever add. Once an item is full of pacts, you can no longer add pacts. You can only ever remove. So, you can add pacts of Skull, pacts of Spiky, pacts of Cups. I think I used once in order to fill up Skulls. I might have used 1 or 2 of these, just in order to move my gear around in such a way that I can still have all 5 of my sanguine powers. And always look at your gear and see how many pacts any given item can have. Because maybe you're banking on, oh, well, you know, I could always add another pact here in the future. In this case here, I got 3 out of 3. In this case, I got 2 out of 4. In this case, I got 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5, 3 out of 3. So I don't have room to add more pacts other than on my pants right now. And pacts can only be on these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 item slots. For now, it seems as though helms are always max 3, chest is always max 5, gloves 5, pants 4, and boots 3. I don't know if ancestral items or sacred items are going to have higher caps. If I had to guess, probably, but I'm not sure. One quick last thing to note about the season mechanic, it basically gives you a free battle pass to collect extra loot. You click on the bounty boards in cities to claim these. I wouldn't go out of my way to farm them, but just be sure to check it and grab your free loot when it becomes available. And so that's basically it, right? You're going to level up. Whenever you feel comfortable, go tackle the Capstone dungeon to unlock World Tier 3. Your objective is to get to World Tier 3 as quickly as possible, but also be able to handle the content of World Tier 3. So the Capstone dungeon is level 50. Again, I did it at level 40 with, we were 2 people, level 40. We had pretty much no problem dealing with the Capstone. I was surprised. But your mileage may vary depending on your build, depending on if you're solo or not. Don't smash your head against it. If you're struggling, just go level up a bit more and then try again. Because once you're into World Tier 3, that's when Sacred Items can start dropping. That's when you unlock Helltide. Helltide's supposed to be a lot more rewarding now, so once you're... Oh, here we go. We were talking about those... World Boss now is going to be spawning in an hour. And the Legion event over here. So, there are some strongholds that you might want to unlock in order to gain access to the Legion events. Kordragon is one of them. Now you might be saying, well, I gotta do all the strongholds again because I have to farm Renown again. Not so. If you've already done your Renown, you no longer have to do it again. I see a lot of people saying, oh, my Renown did not carry over. It did. The important Renown did. The Renown rewards, the secondary ones. As soon as you log into the game, as long as you've previously completed all Renown, all of these lower secondary rewards, you start with them. And that's the ones that matter. The skill points, the max obols, the paragon points. The top tier doesn't matter. Don't bother going for these. 150,000 gold? You do that with like 1 bounty turn-in of Whispers. It is not worth going out of your way to get this bonus XP and this extra gold from the top tier rewards. The bottom is what matters. But again though, once you're in World Tier 3, you're going to want to push into World Tier 3 a bit. Even though you might be a little bit less efficient. At this point, you want to hunt for those sacred items. Those are going to be big upgrades for you. And Helltide in particular, if you can handle it. Helltide is where you're going to get a bounty of materials that you will need later on in the game. And reports are that you can get Helltide, sometimes coincident with the Blood Harvest. I can't wait to experience that. In Helltide, you're really just hunting for the mysterious chests, so you don't have to stay in Helltide the entire time. Just go for the chests. We got an old video talking about the farming mysterious chests. And then start running Nightmare Dungeons to start leveling up your Paragon Glyphs. Once you're in World Tier 3, the importance of the Blood Tide probably diminished. The importance of doing these Legion events probably diminished. World bosses hopefully will still be meaningful and important to do to get the materials. You'll still want to do Blood Harvest in order to upgrade the existing vampiric powers that you have. So it's not clear between Nightmare Dungeons and Blood Tide what exactly is going to be the best to do at this point, right? At this point it's speculative for me, but those are all the key things to keep in mind. But I turn the question to you folks. What methods have you used to level up in Season 2 of Diablo 4? What method are you planning to use? Sound off in the comments. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Twitch, Patreon, and YouTube supporters for making these videos possible. If you enjoyed this video, please share it. Check out these other videos, and subscribe to join Rhykker's Raiders for more Diablo content.